Hey there, future Python pro. Ever wanted to learn how to code? You're in the right place. Python is an awesome language that's super popular right now. Why? Because it's easy to learn and can do tons of cool stuff. Think of Python like a set of instructions you give to your computer. It's like teaching your computer a new language so it can do things for you. Don't worry, it's way easier than learning a real language. With Python, you can build websites, analyze data, automate boring tasks, and even make games. It's used by big companies like Google and Netflix, so you know it's powerful stuff. Ready to get started? Let's dive in. Before we start coding, we need the right tools. Don't worry, it's free and easy to get set up. First, head over to the official Python website and download the latest version for your computer. Make sure you choose the right one for your operating system like Windows or Mac OS. Once the download is finished, run the installer. It's pretty straightforward, just follow the on-screen instructions. The installer will put Python on your computer and give you everything you need to start coding. Now let's test if everything works. Open up your terminal or command prompt. It's like a text-based way to interact with your computer. Type in Python version and hit enter. If you see the Python version number, you're good to go. Alright, time to write some actual code. In Python, we use things called variables to store information. Think of them like containers with labels. You can put different types of data in these containers like numbers, words, or even lists of things. To create a variable, just give it a name and assign it a value using the equals sign. For example, creates a variable called name and stores the value John in it. Easy, right? Python is smart and can figure out what type of data you're using. John is a string, a sequence of characters, while stores an integer, a whole number. There are other data types too, like floats, numbers with decimals, and booleans, true or false. Now let's make our code smarter. Python uses conditional statements to make decisions based on certain conditions. The most common one is the if statement. It's like saying, if this condition is true, do this, otherwise do that. For example, imagine you're writing a program to check if someone is old enough to vote. You could use an if statement to check their age. If it's 18 or older, the program would say they can vote. Otherwise it would say they can't. You can also use elif, short for else if, to check multiple conditions, and else to specify what to do if none of the previous conditions are met. This gives you a lot of flexibility to create programs that can handle different situations. Section 5. The power of loops. What if you want to do something repeatedly? That's where loops come in. They let you run a block of code multiple times, which is super useful for automating tasks and working with large amounts of data. Python has two main types of loops, for and while loops. A for loop iterates over a sequence of items, like a list of numbers, while a while loop keeps running as long as a certain condition is true. For example, you could use a for loop to print out all the numbers from 1 to 100, or a while loop to keep asking the user for input until they enter the correct password. Loops are a fundamental concept in programming, so make sure you understand them well. Section 6. Building blocks with functions. As your code gets more complex, it's a good idea to break it down into smaller, reusable chunks. That's where functions come in. A function is like a mini program within your main program. It takes some input, optional, does something with it, and may return a result. To define a function in Python, you use the def keyword followed by the function name, parentheses, and a colon. For example, defines a function called greet that takes one argument, name. Inside the function, you write the code that you want to execute when the function is called. You can then call the function multiple times with different arguments, saving you from writing the same code over and over again. Section 7. Python in action, real-world examples. Now let's see Python in action. Remember those cool things we talked about in the beginning? Here are some examples of how Python is used in the real world. Web development. Python is used to build websites and web applications. Popular frameworks like Django and Flask make it easier to create complex web apps. Data science and machine learning. Python is a go-to language for analyzing data and building machine learning models. Libraries like NumPy, Pandas, and scikit-learn provide powerful tools for working with data. Automation Python can automate boring and repetitive tasks like sending emails, scraping data from websites, or renaming files. This can save you a ton of time and effort. These are just a few examples of what you can do with Python. As you learn more, you'll discover even more amazing possibilities. Section 8. Keep exploring Python. Congratulations on reaching the end of this beginner's guide to Python. You've learned the basics of this powerful language, but this is just the beginning of your journey. There's so much more to explore. To keep learning and improving your Python skills, here are a few tips. Practice, practice, practice. The more you code, the better you'll get. Try building small projects or solving coding challenges online. Explore different resources. There are tons of great resources available online, including tutorials, documentation, and online courses. Join the Python community. Connect with other Python enthusiasts online or at local meetups. You can learn from others, share your knowledge, and get help when you're stuck. Section 9. Your Python journey begins. Remember, learning to code is like learning any new skill. It takes time, effort, and dedication. But with the right mindset and resources, anyone can learn to code, regardless of their background. So, what are you waiting for? Dive into the world of Python and unlock endless possibilities. Who knows, maybe one day, you'll be building the next big thing or solving complex problems with the power of code. The future is yours to create.